Welcome to my channel. This is an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, and don't forget to click the little bell so that you'll get notified of future videos. Please feel free to share my videos on your social media, and I hope you enjoy the video which follows. Well, hello everybody. One of my nieces gave me a cookbook for Christmas for my Instant Pot, and it's all vegetarian recipes. So I'm going to do a couple of things out of it today. Most of the things in there are very interesting. I'm sure I'll use it a lot. The first one I'm going to do is polenta, and it's called a chili polenta. There's already 10 cups of water in the Instant Pot, and that's 3 cups of polenta, coarse ground cornmeal, 3 teaspoons of salt, which seems like a lot of salt, but there is 10 cups of water in the polenta, so I'm hoping it won't be over salt. And the next and final ingredient that it called for was 3 tablespoons of paprika flakes. I don't know what they mean. I've looked through grocery stores. I've never seen anything called paprika flakes. So what I have done, I've got 2 tablespoons of paprika, and I did put 1 whole tablespoon of chili flakes, which should certainly make it spicy enough. And red enough, I guess. So I'll mix that up a little bit. I love the Instant Pot, but I haven't been using it a lot lately, so I'm glad to have this new cookbook. There's lots of things in it that I want to try. So now we get the thing set and turned on here. And this gets cooked under pressure, so I've closed the pressure valve there. And now I turn on pressure cook, and the level is supposed to be high, a high level, and 9 minutes. 9 minutes, here we go. It will first bring it up to pressure, and then the timer will start counting down from the 9 minutes. And this particular one, you just let it release its pressure naturally, which takes another 20 minutes to a half hour or so before you open it up. There's another way of doing it where you turn the pressure valve and the steam comes off, but this recipe stipulates that you let the pressure dissipate naturally. So I'll bring you back when we open this thing up to see what the polenta looks like. Well, so much for that. That doesn't work, at least not in my Instant Pot. I'm going to make a soup next and hope it goes better than this did. With the polenta, of course, all the cornmeal settles to the bottom. And once you've sealed the thing up, there's no way to stir it. So 3 times it shut off and said it was burning. I opened it up, stirred, put it back on again, and the same thing. It says it's burning. It's not actually burning. It's all settled to the bottom of the pot. And I suppose it has a temperature sensor that knows that the bottom of the pot is getting hot enough that it could burn something. So I gave up. I now have it in a stock pot. I'm going to do it like I've always done polenta. This isn't an instant polenta or anything. This is a coarse ground cornmeal. So it'll probably take, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, but you have to stir it pretty near constantly or it will burn also, even though this is a heavy bottom saucepan. So I'll bring you back when it starts to boil and thickens up, but I don't know what else you would do. I followed the instructions, and I don't know. The people that wrote the cookbook, have they ever actually made it in an Instant Pot? Mine won't have it anyway. It insists that it's burning and shuts off automatically. It's only been about 5 minutes. It has come to the boil and is really getting much thicker. You can see it bubbling up there. I'll let it cook for another, well, 3, 4, 5 minutes anyway, until it's fairly thick. You don't want it to be raw. You want the cornmeal to completely cook. bring you back in a few minutes. I've turned the heat down considerably because once this stuff starts spitting at you, it's about like molten lava, so you don't want to get it on your skin. But as you can see, it's continuing to get thicker and thicker. And once you take it off the heat, it really thickens up. So I'll probably only cook it for another minute or two here. Well, I just tasted a bit of it. It isn't overly salt, so the amount of salt for that amount of cornmeal, I guess, was just about right. It doesn't taste salty. It is spicy because of the tablespoon of chili flakes that I put in there. You could certainly add less, or you could eliminate them altogether and use 3 tablespoons of paprika, because paprika isn't hot at all. It's just dried and ground sweet peppers. I always like to add a knob of butter, so there goes a knob of butter, a couple of tablespoons. Once that has melted, I will remove it from this stock pot and show you what I do with it next. And that's just an ordinary Pyrex baking dish. I'm sure you had a great view of my arm there. Try to get it all out into the dish possible. Now, as this congeals just a little bit here, which it will do quite quickly as it's cooling down, you can use it as a vegetable with almost any meal, like you would mashed potatoes or whatever. But what I prefer to do is to let it cool completely, and then it congeals into a solid. And I like slices of it fried or grilled and served with whatever I want to serve them with. So I will hopefully show you that later on after it has cooled down and solidified. And as forget the Instant Pot on this one, in my opinion anyway, I guess. And like I said, you could eliminate the chili peppers if you don't like spicy things. You could just use the paprika, or you can do it plain. You don't have to put any other seasoning in. Do it in a vegetable stock or a chicken stock instead of water, or just do it with water and butter. It's delicious that way too. So I'll show you what it looks like when I can slice it. Well, I guess you can see that. This is the polenta after it solidified. It's still relatively warm, so it's not as solid as it gets. But I've taken a slice out of it and I'm pan frying it along with scallops. I have a next door neighbor, who gives me scallops for Christmas. A wonderful Christmas gift. I love the things. I just pan fry them in butter 2 days in a row. Yesterday was Boxing Day here, the day after Christmas, and today is the 27th, so I'm finishing up my Christmas gift of scallops and polenta, and that's a winter squash. When I had a big winter squash, and when I cooked it all, and I just warm it up, either in the microwave, or since I was using this large cast iron skillet, I thought I would just warm it up in the skillet. I'll show you the polenta on a plate when I finish here. Well, what I didn't say about the polenta is it will store nicely in the refrigerator for a week or so, but it also freezes very nicely. So what I will do with mine is I'll have some that I'll eat in the next few days, and the rest of it I will put in the refrigerator, in the freezer, in smaller pieces, and bring it out as I want to use it. It's very good, and dangerous for me to say that I don't find it very spicy, because maybe a tablespoon of those chili flakes for somebody who doesn't like things that are spicy would find it too spicy. But as I say, you can eliminate them if you want. And that is very good, along with my winter squash and scallops. I love scallops. It's a lovely Christmas gift. Well, the next thing I'm going to try is a soup in the Instant Pot. So Probably do that in the morning. I'll add it to this and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully better than polenta does. Well, something that I didn't mention about the polenta, you of course could take that same recipe and cut it in half or do 1/3 of it if you didn't want quite so much. I've got some refrigerated that I'll use today and I froze better than half of it, but if you don't want that big of a batch, you can cut it down quite easily. It works just as well. Cut it by 1/3, cut it by half. I'm going to make a soup. It's sort of a hybrid soup. I'm using the same cookbook, but I'm not doing everything that it says to do. This soup is a pearl barley soup, and the ingredients are, it says 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm eliminating that immediately. I can't imagine putting a cup of all-purpose flour in a pressure cooker. I think you'd end up with wallpaper paste, so that's not going to happen. 2 onions chopped, and as you can see I'm using the red onions. 2 stalks of celery chopped. 2 carrots chopped. There'll be 4 tablespoons of olive oil go in it. 2 cups of mushrooms. Well, I don't know how you measure mushrooms by the cup, but that's some mushrooms sliced thinly anyway. 28 ounces of vegetable broth and a cup of water. 3/4 of a cup of pearl barley, and I'm adding, since I didn't put the flour in, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of green lentils. 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, and I'm using Italian seasoning blend that I like. I use it on pizza and in sauces and whatever. It has oregano in it, but it also has parsley and other, maybe some chili peppers even in there. I guess there's little spots of red, but I like it very much, so I'm using that. And salt and pepper to taste. So let's get started. Well, the Instant Pot has a saute setting, so I'll turn it on saute and add 3 tablespoons of, I'm using a very good quality extra virgin olive oil. That's 3 tablespoons. And now the onions get sauteed for 3 minutes. Guess it won't matter if I get a few pieces of the carrots and celery in with them. When that warms up enough that it's actually sauteing, I'll bring you back. Well, I guess you can hear it now. The oil has warmed up. It's starting to do a bit of a saute. So I'll let it go for, it says 3 minutes, but I'll let it go until I think they've softened up enough anyway. It's a good time to add some salt and pepper. Salt always helps onions release their moisture. I think that's softened up enough. Now you just add all of the remaining ingredients. I'll start with the vegetable stock. And as you can see, I'm using a bought-in vegetable stock. Too lazy to make my own. That's that done. And the cup of water. Remainder of the vegetables, carrots and celery. The seasoning. mushrooms, lentils, and the barley. A bit of a stir. Now, Instant Pot has a soup setting. I hope it doesn't scream that it's burning. I don't know what I did with the cover. There it is. Sealed. Now it says to use the soup setting, and that's on high, and that's 30 minutes. Don't want 30, I want 15 according to this. So we will come down to, whoops, went past it, 15. 15 minutes on high on the soup setting. And it should indicate that it's going to go to work here in a second. There you go. It won't start its countdown until it has brought everything up to temperature and the pressure is there. So I'll bring you back later on here. Well, it has come up to temperature and closed off. It has a little valve on top that closes off. There was steam coming out of it. And it has started its 15-minute countdown. It's down to 13 minutes. Once it finishes, it will go into a keep warm mode. And you can either release the pressure immediately or let it the pressure just to dissipate naturally on its own. And that's what it suggests to do with this. Is to release the pressure naturally, it says. So it will be more than 15 minutes, more than 12 minutes now. Takes another 10 minutes or so afterward for the pressure to come down. There's a little valve on top that once that drops down, it's safe to open it. So I will bring you back when it's time to open this up. Well, it took 22 minutes for the little valve thing to drop, and I will turn there's another nozzle thing that you can turn to let off any steam. I just turn that to make sure that there isn't any steam coming out of it. We will see what our soup is like. Oops. I guess you can see into that fairly well. It smells good, I can tell you that much. Get everything all combined here. And it didn't burn. This recipe works. I just can't imagine what that would be like, though, if I added the cup of all-purpose flour. I don't think I want to find out. Now, I'll take this in the dining room and we'll try it. As I've said, it certainly smells good. I love barley. I have a number of soups that I make that I add a lot of barley to. That is very good. That Italian herb seasoning comes through very nice. I wouldn't add any extra salt or anything either. I didn't check that package of vegetable broth, if that had salt in it or not, but it's plenty salt enough without adding anything else anyway. Very tasty. I really enjoy that. But as I said, I cannot imagine what that would be like if you had added a cup of all-purpose flour. I mean, if you wanted to thicken it, a tablespoon or two, but there isn't much liquid left anyway after it cooked the barley. At any rate, this recipe does work. It's very good, and it will work in your Instant Pot. So if you have an Instant Pot, I suggest you give it a try. If you haven't, you could of course do this quite easily on the stovetop. It doesn't require an Instant Pot. You would just simmer it for a longer period of time until the barley was tender. Talking with my mouth full, but Thank you very much for watching.